Guys, today we'll be learning, after we learned if and else statements, now we'll be learning loops. What are loops? We'll check out in the definition PowerPoint. So loops, if a certain code is trapped in a loop, it gets continuously repeated until it reaches specific conditions. So if just like if and else statements, the code needs to be indented. So there needs to be a tab in between it to show that this code belongs in this loop. So if a certain code is there, it gets continuously repeated until it reaches specific conditions. Obviously, like I said, after we do some practicals and iterations. Iteration is the process of repeating something a certain number of times. Iteration, we don't use the word repeated in programming, but otherwise we use the word iteration. Iterating something is to repeat something. So we'll check out our program that we created. Give a number, give 9, and we'll print all the numbers below 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now we'll be learning the two types of loops. In Python there are two types of loops. Actually, in all programming languages there are two types of loops. There's for and while. Let's check out the for loop first. So, using a shell here because I'm just testing out code. So it prints hello 5 times. Pretty cool, right? But there's also another thing which we need to take in mind too. This is how a for loop is. So just wait a second, I will do this first. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So obviously, if you get the point, it is printed it 5 times. But let's check out the real main working of it. Also, before that, we'll check out this. So we wanted to print it 9 times, and it started from 0. As I told you before, in our first video, I told you about index. And computers always start a number from 0 and repeat it 9 times. So there's actually 9 numbers here. So if you want to do this, get your hopes up, but even if you get your hopes up, you won't get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But obviously you can get it if you do it in this manner I'm talking. Let's check out the real working of a for loop. For loop has an I, or we don't need to use an I. We can, because I usually stands for integer. We can use any other variable, any number, any letter, nothing, and we just can do anything. Sorry, I don't put the colon there. And also keep in mind, we also need a colon, like for our if statements and else statements. So what we need to do is we can put any variable and it'll get executed. I just forgot to put the colon, but you can keep your hopes up. You can put any variable and obviously you can get executed. But what happens here? There's an I variable I, and it's default set to 0. It is default. We don't need to make I 0, but I or any other variable I'm talking is default set to 0. And first it's set to 0, executes this code. And then after it executes this code, it becomes 1. And after it becomes 1, it executes this code again. After it becomes 2, and it executes this code again. After it becomes 3, and executes this code again. After it becomes 4, and executes this code again, but then it won't become 5, because obviously it's executed 5 times already, starting from 0. And then it stops, the code stops, and then it just prints out the output that we need. So pretty cool, right? So I start from 0, prints this, becomes 1, prints this, becomes 2. So I starts from 1, and all the stuff that we've written in the loop, all of it gets executed, and then I becomes 1, and then all of it gets executed again, until the number written here, until I becomes a number written here minus 1. As you may know, it starts from 0. So this is the working of a for loop. I always gets iterated, I always gets added, it always gets incremented by 1. It always gets incremented by 1. Okay. So I bet we got the gist here. So the program that we've written here, I bet you understand how it works. Okay, program we've written here. So let's see how the program that we've written works. Sorry, the program that I've written that starts from 0. Let's see how that works. The program that I've written, we give the user an input. For example, we give it 10, and then it prints say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How do you do that? I'll show you. Imagine the user gives us 10, and we do this. Let's check out for this one. So we printed I because, as you may know, I starts from 0, I goes from 1, and then I goes to 2, I goes to 3, I goes to 4, I goes to 5, I goes to 6, and until it reaches 8, it prints all the numbers in it. It prints out all the values of I. Okay, print I. It's printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it has not started from 0. How is that? A for loop has 3 arguments. A for loop has 3 arguments. The first argument is where to start from, second argument is where to end, and we'll check out the third argument next. Let's check out it now actually. So what we did is, we made it start from 1, and we wanted to iterate 11 times, because obviously it starts from 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It has not iterated 11 times. But it starts from 1 and ends to 11. So I bet you get that, right? It starts from 1 and ends to 11. Okay, so there's also another argument in a for loop. So I am range 1, 12, 2. There's 3 arguments in there. You can put 3 stuff in this. And I'll print it and I'll say 1, 3, 5, 4, 7, 8. So it starts from 1 and it goes in multiples of 2. Obviously, this is not multiples of 2. It goes from 1. So I first starts from 1. It becomes 2. But I can't become 2 because it's saying to always add on to each time it goes. So 1. So usually the I combination, the I first becomes 1, adds 2, becomes 3, adds 2, becomes 5, adds 2, becomes 7, adds 2, becomes 10. 10, but, I start from 1, adds 2, becomes 3, adds 2 to become 5, adds 2 to become 7, adds 2 to become 9, and adds 2 to become 10, adds 2 to become 11, and then it stops there. Because obviously, the maximum is 12, so it can't go to 13. So it just stops there. So this is the third argument. So we have learned for loops. Actually, next video we'll be learning while loops. And while loops, the same loop, they're the same. They're put in the same category as loops, and we'll be learning while loops. And I hope you've enjoyed my video and you've understood how a for loop works with 3 different arguments that's put inside it, and what is the meaning of the variable that we put in here. So I hope you've understood it, and yeah. So thank you very much for watching.